Welcome to the deep dive. You were curious about ancient Greek thought, and, well, we kept coming across this name, Xenophanes. He's often, I think, kind of lumped in with the pre-Socratics, but it seems like he was almost a category unto himself.
Yeah, he really was. A philosopher, poet, social commentator, all in one. And this guy traveled the ancient Greek world for, get this, 67 years. Imagine the stories, the ideas he must have encountered. And get this, he wasn't afraid to critique what he saw, even when it came to their most cherished beliefs.
67 years. Wow, that's longer than a lot of people even lived back then. And you're right, he really went for it, like taking aim at their gods, not just their depiction, but the whole idea of what a god should be. That's incredibly bold for the time. What do you think sparked that?
Well, it seems Xenophanes was really bothered by how poets like Homer and Hesiod portrayed the gods. They were so petty, jealous, just so human in all the wrong ways. And there's this famous quote of his: if oxen and horses had hands, horses would draw the forms of the gods like horses and oxen like oxen. He was pointing out how much we humans project our own image onto everything, even the divine.
That quote is amazing. It really makes you think. Like, it's so true. We're hardwired to see things through a human lens. But Xenophanes didn't just, like, poke holes in what everyone thought. He actually came up with a totally different concept of God.
Exactly. He argued for one God, a supreme God, nothing like those traditional Greek gods. And this God, not bound by a physical form or these human-like emotions. This God didn't get involved in our day-to-day, but still controlled everything with the power of his mind. It's actually kind of a precursor to monotheistic ideas, really amazing given the historical context.
It's like he planted a seed, centuries before Judaism and Christianity. So he's challenging religious norms. But he wasn't just a theologian, right? He was also looking at the natural world, like with this incredibly curious mind.
Oh, absolutely. And this is where we see these glimpses of, I don't know, a kind of proto-scientific approach. Like, he was fascinated by fossils.
Fossils?
Yeah, fossils. So he found fossilized sea creatures, but like far inland. This led him to believe that the Earth itself must have changed a lot over time, that it used to be underwater.
Wow. That's laying the groundwork for geology, even evolution in a way.
Yeah.
What kind of evidence did he use to back that up?
Well, we only have these fragments of his writing, but it seems he took what he saw with fossils and combined it with this remarkable theory. He believed in an infinite Earth, but not just out, infinitely downwards.
Whoa, hold on. So not just a flat disk, not even a sphere, but like an endless expanse below our feet.
Exactly. It's kind of mind-blowing, even now.
It really is. What do you think led him to that?
Well, he probably combined what he saw. I mean, digging always leads to more earth, more water, right? With this idea that the earth was once submerged. He even believed there were multiple suns and moons that were constantly being created and disappearing.
Wow.
I know, right? And while we know today that those specific ideas aren't accurate, what's important is this drive to understand the universe, but through observation and reasoning.
It's incredible. He was really trying to make sense of what he saw, but with the limited information available at the time. I mean, he was centuries ahead, proposing ideas that wouldn't really be understood until, the Renaissance.
I know, it's pretty amazing, right? He's wrestling with these huge questions about reality, but, centuries before this scientific method. But here's what makes Xenophanes even more interesting. He didn't just come up with these theories. He also thought about how we could ever know if they were actually true.
So it's like he's saying, okay, I've got this idea about how the universe works, but how do I know I'm not just, fooling myself?
Exactly. And that's where epistemology comes in, right?
Epistemology, right? The study of knowledge itself. How do we know what we know? It's a big one.
It really is. And Xenophanes was one of the first to really draw this line between knowledge and belief. He was saying that true objective truth, it might just be impossible for us as humans to reach. Like, we can believe something so strongly, but still be completely wrong.
It's like he's introducing this element of doubt.
Yeah.
This humility, which is so important, especially when you're dealing with these really big questions. So he's challenging all these assumptions about the gods, about the natural world, about if we can even understand it all. Did these ideas catch on? What did other people think about this guy?
Oh, he definitely got people talking. Xenophanes had a huge impact on later philosophical schools. Take the Eleatics, for example, with philosophers like Parmenides. They were obsessed with this question of being, the nature of reality, and you can see Xenophanes' fingerprints all over their work.
So it's like he starts this fire, and these later philosophers, they're carrying the torch, exploring different sides of the questions he was asking.
That's a great way to put it. And his influence, it wasn't limited to just one group. I mean, think about it. He's poking holes in the traditional myths, then he's advocating for this more abstract idea of God, and then on top of that, he's recognizing the limits of what we can know. These were radical ideas, and they found a home with all sorts of thinkers: skeptics, monotheists, natural
He's
philosophers.
like this intellectual ancestor to so many different schools of thought. It makes you wonder, though, with such a wide range of interests, did he face any, I don't know, resistance? Was it risky to be so out there with his ideas, especially about the gods?
You've hit on something really important. Going against the grain can be dangerous,
Yeah.
right? And ancient Greece was no exception. We don't have his whole life story, but we know he was exiled from his hometown, Colophon.
Exiled. Wow. Okay, so his ideas definitely weren't always welcome. Any idea what led to that?
The exact reasons are lost. History's like that sometimes. But it's probably safe to assume that being so outspoken, especially about the gods, well, it probably ruffled some feathers.
Mm.
Just imagine you grow up on Homer, on Hesiod, and then Xenophanes comes along saying, hold on, what if these gods are all in our heads?
It's like he's shaking the foundation of their entire worldview. But exile or not, his ideas, they clearly resonated. They had a lasting impact.
No doubt. And it really makes you think, how did these ideas even spread back then? No printing presses, no internet. Makes you really appreciate the power of a good conversation, a debate, that just human need to share big ideas, to wrestle with them.
It's amazing, isn't it, to think about those conversations, those scrolls being passed around. He really started something, and it lasted. So as we kind of wrap up our deep dive on Xenophanes, what do you think is the most, I don't know, the most valuable thing he offers us today? Like, what's the heart of his legacy?
I think Xenophanes reminds us that true wisdom, it often starts with a question. He dared to question everything, even the most basic beliefs of his time. And in our world, right, a world that's just flooded with information, that ability to take a step back, to be a little skeptical, it's more important than ever.
It really is. It's so easy to get caught up in whatever's trending, whoever's shouting the loudest.
Hmm.
But Xenophanes, he's urging us to resist that, to think for ourselves, to
Yeah.
really examine what we believe, to be open to being wrong.
Exactly. He shows us that pursuing knowledge, it's not just about memorizing a bunch of facts. It's about cultivating a sense of curiosity, a spirit of inquiry. And it's not about disrespecting tradition, it's about engaging with it, but critically asking, what can we learn from this? And how can we build on it?
He's like a reminder that progress depends on us constantly questioning, pushing those boundaries, staying open to new ways of seeing things.
And maybe most importantly, he shows us that this questioning, this doubting, it doesn't have to lead to despair. It can be what sparks our curiosity, what keeps us searching for a deeper understanding.
It's that balance, that beautiful balance of skepticism and wonder, you know?
Yeah.
That's what I find so inspiring about Xenophanes. He wasn't afraid to say, I don't know. But he never stopped searching for answers either. He reminds us that it's not always about the destination, it's about the journey, and that sometimes the most profound insights, they come from asking the right questions, even if we don't have all the answers.
Couldn't said it better myself. Xenophanes, he invites us to become lifelong learners, to approach everything with curiosity, but also with a critical eye, to always be searching, digging deeper.
And on that note, we'll leave you with this thought. What assumptions are you holding on to? What would happen if you question them? Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll see you next time.